In this AdSkills video, I'm going to break down the difference between pixels and postback URLs. I'll help you figure out which one you want to use and why. More on that right after this. So most people in media buying have heard of pixels before. They use them for event tracking, for conversion tracking, for retargeting, all kinds of stuff. But as you start to get deeper into the media buying world, you start hearing more about postback URLs. And a lot of times I get the question, well, what's different? Why would I want to use one over the other? So at the end of the day, they're both great tools that help us better understand conversion data and build audiences. That's a given, so both tools are great. I want to explain though the difference between how the two work and why you're going to want to pick one over the other if you have the choice. So pixels are client side, and the best way to explain a pixel, I think of pixels as cookie monsters. They're the little piece of information that the ad networks give you to place on your site to say, all right, every single time someone clicks on one of your ads, we're going to attach a little cookie to their computer and send them over to you, to their device, whatever it is, computer, mobile, etc. From that point, if they go through and they achieve the conversion that you're looking for, that pixel is going to eat the cookie that was on their device and say, yum, that was great. Send a piece of information back to that ad network and say, send more people like that. That's essentially how pixels work. Postback URLs, on the other hand, are all server to server. So basically what happens is a click ID is posted to the URL when someone clicks. And if they go through and complete an action, on the back end, so not the cookie and the pixel on the front end on the visitor side, but on the back end through your system, that's actually where the event takes place. So whenever someone completes a conversion, you've got a URL there that whenever that fires, it's going to go on the back end. It's going to continue to fire a signal until the server on the ad network side picks it up. That's essentially how this works. So pixels are on the client side, postback URLs are on the server side. So let's talk about why that's important. So I love this image here on the screen. It's showing the accuracy of the villain in a hero movie, which is all over the place, and a hero's accuracy against the villain in the movie. It's all clustered and very accurate with maybe one that's shot off to the side. So pixels to me are more villain accuracy. Right now inside of my YouTube campaigns, I'm running a ton of YouTube campaigns, and we're typically seeing AdWords is underreporting by between 20 and 30%. If I'm running target CPA campaigns, that means my CPAs are 20 to 30% higher. And when that happens, they go above my goal. The algorithm starts to choke back and say, you know what? We're not hitting the numbers, so we're not going to serve your ads as much. That's exactly the opposite of what I want. I want my ads to serve more because we're performing well. So because of that accuracy, now we have an issue. And the reason for that is since it's client side, there's things that ad networks can put into place. So if Safari, I think they just put in this thing called IPP that starts to delete cookies, all kinds of things. Anytime something on the ad side, whether it be the browser, the device, all of those things, they start to try and protect users more. And from that perspective, we're losing out on cookies, which means the pixel doesn't fire enough, and now our numbers look off. That, at the end of the day, is for me, the problem is lack of accuracy. On the other hand, a postback URL has hero accuracy. And the reason for that is it continues to fire the signal of conversion until the other side reaches it. So the best way to explain this, pixels, they fire one time. So if the server's busy, doesn't get picked up. If for some reason someone comes in and converts and the page doesn't load correctly, doesn't fire, there's something going on with their device that doesn't allow for cookies, now that cookie gets wiped out, you get underreported. All of those issues can be a problem. The postback URL, however, is since it's on the back end, it's going to fire and it's continue to fire until that signal gets picked up. So at the end of the day, our accuracy is extremely, I typically see with postback URLs, it's about 98% accurate, maybe even 99 to 100%. So we've got great accuracy, and if we're using target CPA or something like that, it's extremely dialed in because it knows exactly the number of conversions that have taken place. So at the end of the day, that's what makes it valuable. So how do you fire each one of these? Well, if you're going to fire pixels, if you're using Google Tag Manager, use a custom HTML tag. A lot of people have done that. It's very simple. I've got a bunch of tutorials showing you how to do that. I've covered that before. Postback URLs, on the other hand, are fired through an image tag. So it's basically just firing a URL. It's a little 1x1 pixel image that will fire on the completion page or whenever an event takes place. And so I'm going to head over to Google Tag Manager and show you how I do this. Now, the thing that's really important is with postback URLs, they all capture a click ID that's generated by either the ad network or the click tracker that you're using. So I'm going to also show you how to create a variable that's going to capture that, and then you can pull that into your Postback URL, so when you fire it, that information is going to get sent back to the source that needs it. So let's head over to Tag Manager. I'll show you this works. All right, so we're here in our Tag Manager, and what I want to walk you through is the process I use to build a Postback URL. So the first thing I do is I come in and I'm going to create a variable. And when I do this, the whole reason for this is if you're using Postback URLs, that means a click ID is getting assigned to that click whenever someone clicks on any click. So if you're sending millions of clicks a day, every single one of those clicks has a unique ID. With any Postback URL, you need to capture that click ID and send it back to the source to say this click ID produced a conversion. So the way you do that is you come into your Tag Manager underneath variables. I'm going to click New, and I'm just going to say this is click ID 2 because I already have one in here just as an example. So click ID 2, and what we're going to do is we're going to look inside of the URL. So I'm clicking here on URL. We're going to look at the full, we don't want to look at the full URL, we want to look at the query. So everything that comes after the question mark, and inside of there you've got your query key. So let me just zoom in on this here for a second for you. So the query key, if we look at this note, says is specified the variable value will be the value of the first matching query component. So basically, if the query key is A, the URL, the variable value will be X. So if we're looking at A, we're going to get X. So what I typically do is I put this in here in one of our S parameters for affiliate tracking. So let's say it's S2. I want to pull whatever piece of information, that's where the click ID is always assigned for our particular accounts. So if S2 is pulled in, I want to say that particular variable, S2 equals whatever that click ID is. I want to grab that click ID and send it back with my Postback URL. So I'm going to save this right now. And close, and I'm just going to back up here a little bit. So next thing we'll have to do, you have to create a trigger for your individual whatever it is. I'm just going to use all pages right now to show you very quickly. Then I'll go up to tags, and I'm going to create a new tag. So the new tag, I'm just going to call this Postback URL example. And actually I'm going to grab, I have a, oops, I want to discard this. I actually have a Postback URL inside of here that I have used. We use Power Inbox. So I'm going to grab this and I'm going to come in and show you how this works. So Power Inbox is an ad network that requires this to, you have to have a Postback URL and you have to have a click ID. So I'm going to use Power Inbox example. So our tag configuration, we want to use a custom image tag. I'm going to come in here, and so I'm going to place the image URL. And then what I need here, so you can see we've got our Power Inbox Postback URL. It's notifying our company ID, and then we need the click ID. Well, that's a variable that we just created. So if I click on this little block right here, we can see click ID 2, and it's going to come in and pull in that S2 parameter back into here, and it'll send it off with the click ID. So triggering, just going to set it for all pages, save, and now we would be good to go. So that is how you come and you create a Postback URL with Google Tag Manager. If you're installing it in a CRM like we use Cake for our affiliate tracking, there's a little place for Postback URLs. You can go put them in there. Once again, you just want to make sure the dynamic piece that you need. So inside of Cake, we use hashtag S2 hashtag instead of the dynamic variables. That's because that's how Cake pulls that information in. So you just need to make sure that whatever source you're using, you understand how you can pull in those dynamic parameters, those variables to get that click ID inside of that URL and then fire it when someone takes that conversion. So hopefully that was helpful for you. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments down below. And I hope that explains the difference for you between pixels, Postback URLs, what makes them valuable, and then how you institute them with Google Tag Manager. If you found this tutorial helpful, make sure you click on the subscribe button on the screen right now. Also, if you'd like to join the Daily Edge and get the daily dose of what's working in paid traffic and tracking, you can text Daily Edge to 44222.